Welcome back. Let's go ahead and get started. If in your yellow notebook, if you would write Unit 3, Lesson 3, multiplying by a decimal, page 89. All right, it says summarize, multiply by 0.1 and 0.01, or 0 and 1/10 and 0 and 1/100th. And the first example I'd like you to copy down is this. It says multiply by 0.1 is the same as dividing by 10. So if you look at this problem right here, and I'll highlight it in yellow for you, it says 0.1 times 32.4 equals 32.4 divided by 10, which equals 3.24. So copy that problem down, and then what it goes on to say is, it says multiplying a number by 0.1 divides it into 10 parts and takes one part. It gives a smaller number. Each digit moves one place to the right. So by multiplying by 0.1, it's moving the decimal from 32.4 to 3.24 because you multiplied it by 0.1. Let's look at that a little closer in another problem, but it goes on to say you can use this idea to multiply any number of tenths. So anytime you have a number in a tenths place, this strategy should work. So let's go and put it to a test. All right, so fill in the blanks here. It says 1a. It says to find 0.2 times 32.40, or $32.40. Divide $32.40 into 10 parts. So again, you have 10 parts, and it takes 2 of those parts because you're multiplying by 2/10 now. So if you look at the final result here, it says 0.2 times $32.40 is the same as saying $32.40 divided by 10 times 2. So copy this whole problem down if you would, please. And then it goes on to say to find 6.2 times 32.40, divide 32.40 into 10 parts. So now you have 6.2, and now you're dividing that into 10 parts. And now it takes 62 of these parts from the 6.2. So copy 1a and 1b down as your example. And then to finish it out, you would have 6.2 times $32.40 is the same as $32.40 divided by 10 times now 62. All right, let's look at it a little bit further. The next section says multiplying by 0.01 is the same as dividing by 100 because the 1 is in the hundreds place. So let's take a look at this one as an example. So it's saying 0.01 times 32.4 is the same as 32.4 divided by 100, and now you're moving a decimal over 2 places, so it would be 0.324, or 324 hundredths. So it goes on to say multiplying a number by 0.01 divides it into 100 parts instead of 10 parts now, and takes one part. It gives an even smaller number. Each digit moves 2 places to the left. So just make sure that you realize that when you're multiplying by or dividing by 100, it moves it 2 places left, or multiplying by 0.01. Okay, then it says you can use this idea to multiply any number of hundredths. So let's just look at one here. 2a. Copy this one down if you would. It says, let me just change it. To find 0.02, or 2 hundredths, times $32.40, divide $32.40 into 100 parts. And it takes 2 of those parts, because now it's 0.02. Then 2b, or I'm sorry, finishing this out, 0.02 times $32.40 is the same as $32.40 divided by 100 times 2. And then it goes on to say to find 0.62, or 62 hundredths, times $32.40, divide $32.40 into 100 parts, and take, now instead of 2, it's 62 hundredths, so 62 of those parts. And then final would be 0.62 times 32.40 is the same as $32.40 divided by 100 times 62. All right, let's look at the next page. It says the role of multiplying decimals. All right, so let's go ahead and just follow along here. It says we can state a rule for about multiplying with decimal numbers. And the rule says ignore the decimal points and multiply. Then place the decimal points so the number of decimal places in the product is equal to the total number of decimal places in the factor. And then over here is your example I'd like you to copy down. Example 0.4 times 0.02. It says ignore the decimal points and multiply the 4 times the 2. So let's just do that, skipping this part here. And it says place the decimal points so there are 3 decimals. 0.4 has 1, 0.02 has 2, and then 3 places, 0.008. Then it goes on to say find each product in 2 ways. Use the rule above. Use the method of dividing into 10 or 100 parts and then multiply by the number of tenths or hundreds and then show or explain your work. The first one is done for you. So let's look at the first one here. So it says 0.2 times 0.3 is 0.06, 2 decimal places. Okay? That's what it showed you up here. Copy that down, by the way. And it says divide into parts and multiply. So now it's saying 0.3 divided by 10 times 2. Okay, because it's in the tens place, 0.3 divided by 10, then there's 2 in the tens place, which would be 0.03 times 2, which would be to 0.06. Both methods end up with the same answer. Let's do one more example. If you have 0.02, now you're in the hundreds place, times 0.3, you have 0.006, 0.006, 3 decimal places. If you're looking at it with what we learned on the previous page, you'd have 0.3 divided by 100 because the 2 is in the hundreds place, and you have how many in the hundreds? You have 2 multiplied by 2, which is equivalent to 0.003 times 2, which is the equivalent to 0.006. Same answer, 2 different ways of coming up with that answer. All right, let's continue on to Unit 3, Lesson 4. Summarize dividing by 0.1. It says dividing again by 0.1 gives a number 10 times the original number. So for example, and this is what I'd like you to copy down, summarize dividing by 0.1. 79.6 divided by 0.1 is the same as taking 10 times 79.6, 796. Moving the decimal 1 place to the right. 10 times 79.6 would equal 796. It goes on to say dividing by 0.1 is equivalent to multiplying by 10 because there are 10 small parts, tenths, in each whole. All right, let's take, you don't have to copy this one down, but let's just take a look at it again here. It says discuss and explain number 1. It says dividing by 0.1 is the same as the multiplying by 10. Discuss the reason for each numbered step. So if you look at 79.6 over 0.1 equals 79.6 over 0.1 with times 1 because there's 1 in the tens place, which is the same as 79.6 over 0.1 times 10 over 10, which is the same as 79.6 times 10 over 0.1 times 10, which is the same as 796 over 1, and your final answer would be 796. Taking it a step further now, let's look down here in step 2, which I will have you copy down part of this problem here. It says multiplying a problem in long division format by 1 equals 10 over 10 gives an equivalent problem with a whole number divisor. So if you have 0.1 into 79.6, the first step, and I'd like you to copy this down, is to move your decimal 1 place to the right. 0.1, move it 1 place to the right. What you do on the outside, you must do on the inside. So to 79.6, you move 1 place, bring the decimal up. So now you really have 1, because right here's your decimal, into 796. And now you know that 1 goes into 796 times. So let's take that a little bit further here, and let's look at um, number 3 here. It says the process in exercise 2 can be used to change any decimal divisor to a whole number. Use the method to rewrite each problem with a whole number. So let's just do one of these, 3a. So 3a is 0.4 into 2.7. And I'm just going to draw an arrow over here. So 0.4 into 2.7. Use the method, move it one place over, move it one place over. So really you are saying 4 into 27, and then bring your decimal up and solve. 4 goes into 27. What, 6 times? Bring down a 0. 4 goes into 37 times. And bring down another 0 after the 2, and then there should be a 5 there. So 6.75. All right, let's look at your homework 3.3, which you'll work on in class on Wednesday. And I'm going to have you look at, oops, where is that? Hang on one sec. All right, one more section here and then we're done. If you would, in your yellow notebook, write the words rounding to the nearest tenth. And I just want to run through this real quick. When you're rounding to the nearest tenth, let's copy these 3 examples down. 1.434, 1 and 434 thousandths. You'll be looking at the 4, looking at the 3. Is the 3 greater than 5? And then you round up. If it's less than 5, you round down. In this case, 3 is less than 5. So if you would write 1.434 equals 1.4. 3.4567, looking at the 5, the 4 is in the tens place, the 5 and more you round up, so this would be 3.5. And then the last one, if you copy down 77.97, the 9 is in the tens place, the 7 tells the 9 to round up. Now because this is 9, it actually tells the 9 to round up to 10, so this one you would end up with 78. If you would copy those 3 problems down, that would be great. This concludes lesson unit 3, lesson 3 and 4. In class on Wednesday, you will be working on lessons 3 and 4, and if you have any questions, you can ask me then. If not, you'll finish your assignments in class, and then we'll work on 5 and 6. Thanks.